Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video, I'm giving the AllPowers S1500 Portable Power Station a fair and honest review. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, let's take a look at the specs of the S1500. They say it's got a 295,200 milliamp hour capacity. It's pretty large. It's got a 1500 watt inverter with a 3000 watt surge maximum. They say it's fully charged in 3 hours, provided you're charging it both with the AC adapter at 300 watts and also with the USB-C at 100 watts. They say it has 2,000 plus life cycles until it's at 80% capacity maximum. It's got 11 outputs for multiple devices. You can charge it via solar at 400 watts maximum. Now they say here there's 6 different ways to recharge, and I think this is a little bit misleading. There's technically 4 independent ways with a combination of 2 to give you 6. So you've got AC, USB-C, solar, and your 12 volt car jack. And you can combine USB-C and AC. You can combine USB-C and solar, and I guess that gives you 6. You can control this via an app on your phone. They say it's tiny but powerful. It's not the smallest out there, but it is pretty small compared to something like a Jackery. Interestingly enough, they also sent me one 100 watt solar panel to take a look at. And they say here it's got a high conversion efficiency, foldable and portable, durable and splash proof, and compatible with most solar generators with MC4 connectors. Taking a look at the box, and it's pretty simple and straightforward. It lets you know it's got the S1500 inside. On the back of the box, the specs are slapped on with a piece of sticker here, which is very interesting. Either way, I'll zoom in if you want to take a look at it, and feel free to pause the video. We've already gone over these specs, but there is a bit more detail here. Inside the box on the very top here, we've got a pouch and some instructions. Inside the pouch is a power brick, and the power brick does have a barrel plug on it, so arguably it's proprietary. It's very similar to most laptop power bricks out there. Unfortunately, this is not integrated within the unit itself, and I'm assuming they've done this to help keep the size down. If you are curious, the output of this is 30 volts and 10 amps, and it's nice to see a whole bunch of safety ratings on it. The instruction manual is pretty simple and straightforward and pretty thin, but it is worth a read if you are using this thing to ensure you're using it correctly. And last up here, we've got the S1500 in all of its glory, all 22 pounds of it. The top handle here does have a rubber grip on the bottom, which is a nice touch. It doesn't necessarily feel cheap. The front of this unit is simple and straightforward. We've got a screen, we've got an AC button, DC button, Bluetooth button, 2 LED lights, and 4 AC outputs, although they are upside down. On the one side of this, we've got everything, almost everything for charging. We've got our AC input, solar input, and 12 volt connector. On the back here, we've got absolutely nothing. And on the far side, we've got 2 12 volt DC ports and 3 USB ports and 1 USB-C port. So the first thing I'm testing out are the solar panels. I've got them set up in the full sun, and I want to see how close they can get to the 100 watt maximum. From my testing, most solar panels don't reach their maximum output, but some get closer than others. The kit here contained everything that I needed, and the solar panels are supported by straps that are built right into them. And they connected right into this power bank and are supplying 74 watts overall. Now it's 73 watts, 74 watts. It's not going to charge everything super fast, but in my opinion, it is acceptable for a 100 watt solar panel. Now testing out this power bank gave me some very interesting results. I'm not necessarily sure the output is accurate on this AllPowers device. For example, on this Bluetooth, it's saying I'm getting 23 watts out. And when I plug in the exact same fan running on the exact same speed here, the AllPowers is saying considerably less. It's saying this is outputting at about 14 or 15 watts. And interestingly enough, when I had my Steam Deck plugged in, the Bluetooth is showing 23 watts as an output. And the AllPowers here is also showing significantly less. It's showing about 13 to 14 watts overall. And even more interestingly here, when I used a USB power tester to measure the power between the devices, the Bluetooth was showing 16.7 watts, which was less than it was showing on the screen. And the AllPowers was showing 18.67 watts, which was more than it was showing on the screen. Now moving away from the comparison, and I decided to hook up the AllPowers S1500 to my coffee maker. This Keurig runs at about 1400 watts, actually just a little bit over, and this is kind of a torture test. And unfortunately for one device here, the AllPowers kind of failed this test. The AllPowers was sitting at a full charge, or about 95% overall, and as soon as I ran the Keurig, it knocked the power down to 0 and shut off the AllPowers. I had to recharge this thing from completely empty, and I'm assuming that was probably not too good for the battery. However, on the plus side, if you're not pushing this device to its limits, it performs great. In fact, it powered a fridge and also charged my devices over a weekend when we were camping and didn't have power. Here it is in the trailer, performing extremely well. On a quick side note, the S1500 does have a fan built in. In fact, most power banks of this size have fans built in, and you can hear them. The fans don't run 100% of the time, but they do turn on from time to time, and this is what the fan sounds like. Now, there is something I want to clarify, and this is really just general advice. When you're looking at any power station out there, whether it's AllPowers or something else, you want to pay attention to how many watts it can output. And you want to understand how many watts you're plugging into it. For example, on a toaster or on a kettle or a hairdryer, chances are most of these power stations cannot power it. Those things demand a ton of watts, and it'll tell you right on the device. So here, when you're stressing it out, these things do not perform well. I mean, for a very specific example, I was towing a trailer for 3 hours from my house to a campsite. And during that 3 hours, I had to power the fridge with one of these batteries. The fridge was already cold and it doesn't run 100% of the time. On the way there, I was powering it with the EB3A from Bluetooth. At the end of the 3 hours, the Bluetooth was sitting at 37% charge left. On the way home, with the fridge cold again, I was using this AllPowers S1500. And there was 95% charge left. Now, I've had this S1500 for about a month, and I've tested it thoroughly, camping and not camping. And I can confidently say it exceeded my expectations, and it blew the Bluetooth out of the water. So let's get into what I liked, what I didn't like, and whether or not I'd recommend the S1500, and we'll start out with what I liked. First and foremost, I liked the performance of this when it wasn't under full load. If you had a power out and needed to power your modem and router and possibly even computer, you might be able to do this, and for quite a bit of time, given the fact that this has a pretty big capacity. I like the fact that this has a wide variety of ports and you can plug multiple devices in at the same time without sacrificing too much performance. For some people, this may even replace the need for a generator. I like that this has multiple charging options, and the solar panel at 100 watts was performing okay. I'd recommend at least 200 watts though if you were looking at solar panels for this. Now moving on to my dislikes, and the first thing here you may or may not care about, but I didn't like the accuracy of the LCD display. It was showing less than it was actually outputting. The second thing I didn't like about this device, and this might be a deal breaker for some people, but when I plugged my coffee maker in and almost maxed it out, keyword on almost because I didn't max it out, it dropped the battery level from 95% to 0% and powered this thing off. I thought I killed it. So I can't recommend this for anyone looking at maxing it out. And the last thing I don't like here is arguable because it would increase the price, but I wish this was lithium iron phosphate. This is lithium ion. It's not as safe and doesn't last as long overall. Now, before I get into my overall recommendation, I want to say a couple of neutral things that I didn't either like or dislike. The first thing is the phone app, and that isn't necessary at all. You don't need it in order to use this device. There are no special features on it. There is nothing locked behind that phone app that would make you really need to use it, but you can use it if you want. And the fan noise on this, it is loud, but it's comparable with other batteries out there that I have. So with all of that being said, do I recommend the AllPowers S1500 at $700 in Canada? Might be cheaper in a different country. The answer here is yes, if you're not pushing this to its limits. I mean, arguably here, the S1500 is a pretty good bang for your buck. Even the solar panels are priced very well. The 100-watt solar panels are priced at $200, down from $300 right now. And that's a lot cheaper than something like the Bluetooth ones, which are $400 Canadian, and that's for 120 watts. So if you're looking for a bang for your buck, AllPowers might be the way to go. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts about the AllPowers S1500 in the comments below, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.